Hey everybody, it's Lea Newman. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm thrilled to share this information with you. Our webinar today is titled Reclaim Your Radiance, Ending the Vicious Cycle of Self-Sabotage in Health, Money, and Love. And because I really want to honor your time today, we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. So, this course was actually born out of my own pain, my own struggles in life as I was working through these challenges. And what I began to see was that I was not alone. What I noticed was there were far too many women trudging along through life, weighed down and burdened with baggage in the areas of health, money, and love. Day after day, they were suffering in their own cycle of self-sabotage, unable to experience what I now call a radiant awakening, the very thing that would set them free. So tonight, I have an invitation for you. An invitation to throw those bags away, to reclaim your radiance, and enjoy the life that you truly deserve. So in today's webinar, we are going to define for you what is a radiant soul. We're going to identify some patterns that limit our radiance. We're going to understand the elements of a radiant awakening. And we're also going to learn steps that you can take today to begin your own radiant awakening. This is the thing, ladies. We aren't here to just survive or make do. We are here to make an impact and thrive. The best way I know how to do that is to step into your radiance. Radiance is an inner beauty that shines from within. It comes from confidence, self-love, and authenticity. So I'd like to start off by just saying thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I know that you have lots of different options on how to spend your time, and you chose to be here. So thank you for that. And also, congratulations, because you're one of millions who've decided to actually take aligned action to reclaim your radiance today. And you know what? The truth is, you're already a radiant soul. You've taken aligned action. You're here. This is the thing. So many people are sitting on the couch watching reality TV or just trudging through life knowing that something isn't quite right, and they're not taking any kind of action to do something about it. But you're here. Radiant souls take aligned action. They don't overthink everything. They trust their gut. And when they're presented with an opportunity that answers their greatest challenge, they say yes to it immediately. They don't hesitate. They don't delay. They know that because the opportunity was presented, it was meant to be. This is the one universal characteristic that helps them create the results that astound all the others around them. They radiate. Somehow, you came across this opportunity to participate in this webinar, and you took aligned action. You're here. And I reward aligned action. Not only am I going to offer you some really great insights to support you in stepping out of self-sabotage today, but because you've decided to be with me here today, I've also got a special offer for you at the end of this webinar. So make sure you stay tuned to the end. So before we get into all of that, you probably want to know a little bit more about me and how I came to offer this course. Well, as we all are, I was born in my radiance. I was young and playful. I'd run around, dance, sing, and, well, for those of you that know me, I'm actually quite silly too, and that started way back then. I was curious, creative, passionate, and yes, even back then, I was already an entrepreneur. As I grew older, I discovered that I enjoyed art, culture, international travel, and foreign language. This picture was taken when I was only 18 years old, living abroad in Ecuador. Oh, so much fun. But as I look at this photo, I'm already having some emotion come up because I realized that when I took this photo would be the last time I would feel radiant for a very, very long time. This picture was taken only 6 years later. I had joined the military, left my life of fun, travel, curiosity, and adventure. I had already lost my radiance. My light was already dimmed by the masculine constraints and demands of my military career. And what you may really notice in this photo is, yes, I gained a lot of weight. In fact, I had gained 60 pounds. I was very unhappy. I was dabbling in depression. I was depleted and exhausted most days. I don't have many photos from this time because I was so unhappy with my appearance that I didn't actually allow them to be taken. Conveniently, that was right around the same time that digital cameras became kind of mainstream. I bought myself a really snazzy camera and used that as a really great excuse to be behind the camera instead of in front of it. I was working full-time in the Air Force, and I was also going to school full-time. I neglected my marriage, my own needs, and most of all, my own well-being, and boy, did it show. Now, this photo was taken only 5 years later. It's very deceiving. You might think that I had stepped into my radiance, but the truth is, I only swapped one set of self-sabotaging behaviors for another. This one was just around dieting, competing against other women, and frankly, I was just miserable on the inside, yet appearing to be radiant on the outside. While I had brief moments of radiance, I would tell you that I was more in self-sabotage than I was in radiance. I got really good at giving the illusion of success, but that's not the same thing as radiance. I was very structured, extremely controlling, and I took a white knuckle approach to making everything happen. It is possible to be successful and be in your radiance, but that's not where I was. The truth is, I was dead on the inside, out of alignment with my true nature, and not living in flow. For the next 5 to 7 years, I went through this odd phase where I would kind of play the hokey pokey. I'd do fitness competitions and I'd step into my radiance. I'd have so much fun doing my hair, getting my makeup done, and just being playful and silly on stage and definitely in the photo shoots. But I hadn't set up consistent mindset, habits, or behaviors that would allow me to live there in the long term. On top of that, I also had the military that was pulling me out of that world and into these hyper-masculine environments in deployment. So then I'd step back into self-sabotage, primarily in the areas that most of us do, in health, money, and love. Here I am today, flowing from my radiance, in alignment with my relationships, finances, and health. I've created a life that I love. My puppies and I, we travel the country in the RV we call home. I've created a lifestyle where I can earn money no matter where I am on the road, be it domestically or internationally. We visit friends and family, and we even make new friends along the way. I enjoy really vibrant health too. It wasn't until I finally left the Air Force and did the work that I will share with you that I experienced my own powerful radiant awakening, and I've now dedicated my life to helping women like you experience their own radiant awakening too. I'm finally ready to share what I've learned with you. In the process of my own transformation, I learned that I have a passion for helping others. I'm a certified personal trainer and a holistic health coach. I also hold coaching certifications in life, health, finance, and business. I am here to revolutionize the way women experience life. As a radiant awakener, I bring all of these skills together to hold space for your personal radiant awakening. Why does that matter? Because self-sabotage is the root of all pain. I spent nearly a decade and tens of thousands of dollars learning from experts in personal development, relationship, mindset, finance, fitness, and more. This course distills all of that information down into key ingredients to support you in transformation. To support you in stepping out of self-sabotaging mindsets and behaviors and help you step into your radiance, a life of love, health, and wealth that you adore. So what is a radiant soul? I believe it's a woman who's committed to overcoming all of her self-sabotaging behaviors and is living in alignment both personally and professionally. This woman, she is in alignment. With a radiant awakening, we thrive and radiate because we've overcome all of our self-sabotaging mindsets and behaviors, and we now have mastery in the areas of health, love, and money. The result of a radiant awakening journey is a woman who shines brightly with confidence, self-love, and authenticity. In short, your radiance will precede you. A woman operating from her radiant soul never has to go on a diet. She simply uses food as a means to magnify her health and wellness. So you'll no longer live to eat, rather, you'll eat to live. A woman operating from her radiant soul never dreads going to work. She has aligned with her mission in life and is energized by her work. So you'll no longer be working for a paycheck. Instead, you'll be paid well to work in your passion. A woman operating from her radiant soul never shrinks or plays small in her close relationships. She radiates love, joy, and happiness even brighter because of the quality of the relationships in her life. So you'll no longer dread daily interactions with those around you. Instead, you'll be surrounded by people that light you up and make you better. Can you speed up the process from caterpillar to butterfly? Well, that has to happen in its own time. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Caterpillars, they eat a lot of leaves, and they gather all the raw materials for their transformation. At some point, they realize that they have enough and that they can go into their chrysalis, a cocoon. They'll stay in there as long as it takes to process and transform until they're ready to emerge, having fully transformed into a butterfly. And for those of you that are ready, this course can be that same process for you. The course will provide you all the raw materials you need to be able to go into your cocoon. The course itself can be your cocoon, so that on the other side, you will be ready to emerge, having fully transformed into a radiant soul. So, will you accept this invitation to step into your own personal radiant awakening today? By now, you're probably saying, well, what exactly is a radiant awakening? Well, I would tell you that mindset is the most critical component. So many people, they come to me and they want to know what to do. They want a strategy. And yet, going after strategy first is the most ineffective way to create transformation. According to Pareto's law, also known as the 20-80 principle, strategy is only 20% of the equation. The biggest and most effective part is the 80%, your mindset. That's why it's the foundation for everything we do in a radiant awakening. And with regard to mindset, I love this quote. You can't pour from an empty cup. Love and care for yourself first, then you'll have plenty to share with others. And what I know from having worked with women all around the world is this is pretty much universally true. They give away so much of themselves to others that they have nothing left for themselves. And the truth is, it all must begin with you. So first up, with regard to mindset, is authenticity and alignment. A radiant soul is clear on who she is. She knows what's in alignment for her, and she's really aware when she's strayed off path. She takes aligned action to resolve any issues that may arise, and she lives intentionally in the world. She is honest and genuine. I can share a personal story about this concept that's come up for me several times in my life. Being a holistic health coach, and for a time while I was a fitness competitor, I've been approached by many nutrition supplement companies and various network marketing companies, all hoping I would endorse their products. Now, personally, I believe network marketing is a fantastic way to earn extra income, but it must be the right product or service for you. And while the potential financial windfall was quite attractive, I never took the deal or got into the business because none of them were fully aligned for me. I believe in high quality, whole food nutrition. That means eating actual food whenever possible. So I was easily able to stand in my truth and say, no, thank you, knowing that I could create the same financial windfall in other ways. The next component of mindset is surrender and gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to fear. It's also the catalyst for an amazing life, but you must surrender to all the possibilities in order for the best ones to show up for you. At one point in my life, I think I mentioned earlier, I had begun to walk down the path toward depression. I had just divorced my husband. I was bored in my low-paying career. I was unhealthy and severely overweight. I felt like nothing was going right in my life, and I was afraid that I didn't have the means to change it either. I started to think that I might be doomed to what I thought was a horrible life for the rest of my life. That's when I came across the concept of surrender and the practice of gratitude. I started being conscious and aware of my thoughts. Anytime I found myself indulging a disempowering thought, I'd first notice and acknowledge it because, well, pretending like it wasn't there certainly wasn't working. So then I'd ask myself, what's the gift in that, or how could I be grateful for that? It gave me the power to transform any thought into inspiration. From this inspired and empowered place, there is now space for many other changes to take root. This is when the seeds of massive health transformation, new quality friendships and romantic relationships, and even the beginnings of financial abundance and passion in my career all came to fruition. The last component of mindset is rituals and habits. I love it when my clients are engaged in learning more to deepen their understanding on how they can improve their life. However, I find it fascinating that many of them measure their quote-unquote success by the number of books they read, audiobooks they listen to, or seminars they attend. The truth is, knowing the information is only the first step. It's also crucial to constantly cultivate the rituals and habits that they've learned so that they can have an experience and benefit from the implementation of the learning. I had a friend once who learned about a particular morning ritual at a seminar. They talked about setting aside an hour for yourself first thing in the morning to set yourself up for success for the day. She took copious notes. She thought it was such a great idea. She shared it with all her family and friends the moment she got home. Well, one of her friends went home and implemented it immediately. The friend who was once on the verge of breakdown and depression was now positive, inspired, and upbeat. And here she was, still the same. You can imagine how silly she felt when she found out that the game changer, the thing that transformed everything for her friend, was the very morning ritual that she had shared with her and yet not implemented. So, of course, she immediately went home and she began to implement this morning practice right away. And she started to get her own outstanding results. She lost 10 pounds of fat, transformed her relationship, and had a complete positive shift in how she felt day to day. Now that we're really clear on the foundation of a radiant awakening, the mindset, the 80%, only now can we begin to address strategy, the 20%. And first up is health. A radiant soul knows the best fuel for her radiance to shine through. For years, I was eating what many refer to as the SAD diet, the standard American diet, filled with bread, pasta, sugar, and lots of unhealthy fat. I grew up in an area that this was the norm. I didn't know any better. Unfortunately, I also felt horrible. I had really low energy, I felt bloated, and I gained weight very easily. It wasn't until nearly a decade later that I was finally able to dial it in for myself and discovered what worked best for me. Turns out, my body likes pretty much the exact opposite of what I'd been eating nearly my entire life. My body prefers high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrate nutrition that comes from real food. I'm thrilled to say that not only have I figured this out for myself, but I've been able to help countless others figure out what works best for them too. You see, there is no one size fits all. It's quite unique to each individual. It just requires a little experimentation. And this is kind of my philosophy on this. Every bite of healthy food is an opportunity to fill your body with self-love. I have girlfriends that believe that foregoing sugar that messes with your mind, your metabolism, and your wellness is a punishment. And I can say it's not. Instead, think of it as a gift that you get to give yourself, a gift of energy and vitality that you love yourself enough to give. I hear all the time how people don't enjoy their fitness. It's something that they feel like they've got to do instead of something they get to do. My friend Jessica once posted about her frustrations in this area. She had spent a whole week eating well and working out every day and was really frustrated that she wasn't seeing any results. In particular, she was really hoping she'd see some weight loss. So I reached out to her. I asked, are you exercising to feel fit, healthy, free, and happy? Or are you punishing your body for not performing in a certain way, or perhaps for not losing weight fast enough? How long has it been since you truly loved her enough to give her consistent exercise and quality nutrition every single day? Forgive her if she needs a little more time to trust that you'll continue to do that. So just go have fun, go play, and she'll come around. So from this, her entire demeanor around her fitness shifted. She started taking fun fitness classes and even started getting her friends to join in too. It became something she looked forward to every single day. And lo and behold, her body transformation she was seeking soon followed. Health is about more than just nutrition and fitness. It has also got to be about your overall well-being. Back in my fitness competition days, I did a great job of addressing my fitness and nutrition needs, but I was terrible at addressing my well-being. I pounded my body daily with heavy weight training workouts and long cardio sessions, all in the name of an optimal physique. Yet I failed to take adequate time to stretch, get massages, or even just go for a walk in nature, something that would light me up. I can tell you that after several years of this kind of neglect, I had created lots of injuries throughout my body, as well as adrenal fatigue and autoimmune conditions that would take years to heal. So please take care of your well-being too. The second element of a radiant awakening is money. Sometimes we approach money and finances from long-held beliefs that we aren't even aware of. These beliefs turn into rules that control how we operate around money. A friend of mine was contemplating a really big change in her life. She wanted to move from Florida out to California. She had the finances set aside to be able to make the move, yet was still hesitating and she didn't know why. It wasn't until an opportunity to work for a company out in California arose that she realized what was really going on. She realized that she had been holding on to belief that if she worked for a company and was receiving a paycheck, that somehow her financial future would be secure. Well, just ask anybody that's ever been laid off, and they'll tell you that just because you work for a company and receive a paycheck does not mean your financial future is secure. Not only did she decide to use her savings to make the move, but also instead of working for that company, she decided instead to start her own business so that she could secure her own financial future through her own efforts. It is so important to be aligned with your mission. Otherwise, you are just settling for a paycheck in exchange for hours of your life. A great indicator is just notice if you even enjoy your work. I mean, are you having fun and losing track of time at work? Or are you routinely counting the minutes until you get to leave? I have a great example of this. When I was in the military, I was miserable, and I was definitely working for a paycheck. Every single day was challenging. I found a way to show up at work at the last possible second, and I was also the first one out the door. It's a horrible attitude. It wasn't until I took the leap to work on my own that I found the joy, passion, and financial fulfillment that I was truly looking for. And so at this point in our conversation, I'm sure you can see that when your mindset and rules are in alignment, where you're aligned in your work, you can absolutely see that that's when the financial flow begins. As I mentioned, it wasn't until I decided to follow my heart, to go out on my own and create my own private coaching practice and a program that I knew would help thousands, that financial flow truly started for me. The perfect clients were reaching out to me. They were wanting to work with me. And several other lucrative opportunities became available as well. The last element in our radiant awakening is love. So to be clear, we're not talking just about romantic love. We're talking about all different kinds of love, all different kinds of relationships. First up is levels of play. And this concept was a huge game changer for me. A personal share, the first time I did this exercise, wow, I noticed I was granting inner circle access to many who hadn't earned it. No wonder I was feeling so unfulfilled in my relationships. It led me to totally reevaluate who was on the board and at what level they were playing. It also allowed me to notice that there were people that needed to be promoted or even demoted based on how they were interacting with me or how I was interacting with them. The quality of your life is equivalent to the quality of your relationships. It is critical that we celebrate and cultivate partnership in our interactions. 80% of the equation is the effectiveness and quality of how we communicate with others. As an example, it is really important that we communicate the things that are bothering us so that they can be addressed. We must also communicate the things that we desire so that we can elicit support from those closest to us. If we choose to not share these things with those that are closest to us in our life, then we can't get upset when they're not able to show up for us the way we would like. It's our responsibility to communicate clearly and honestly. Last is boundaries. I have a mentor that uses the analogy that personal boundaries are very much like tending to a garden, and that knowing where your boundaries lie allows you to hold firm when necessary, i.e., keep the gate closed, or decide to be flexible and open the gate. Ultimately, it's about making sure that someone is not going to trample on your petunias. I have a personal example of this. Several years ago, I was new to online dating, and having gone through a breakup a few months prior, I felt I was finally ready to put myself out there. I met a really nice guy. We went on quite a few dates, and I was really starting to like him. Over some coffee one day, I was telling my girlfriend all about him and our wonderful dates, and I wish you could have seen her face. It was blank and pale. She opened up her dating app and showed me that he had reached out to her recently too. I was so disappointed. After everything we had shared the previous weeks, I guess I just assumed that we were exclusive. I reached out to him to explain what we had discovered, and he shared with me that he wasn't ready to be exclusive, and he was on the online dating app to just meet lots of people and go have fun. And although I was disappointed, I was able to stand very firm in explaining that I did want something exclusive. And if he wasn't ready for that, that's okay. But it just wasn't something that I was interested in. Having clarity around my boundaries in this area helped me be able to communicate them to him and from a place of peace that allowed him to decide what was a fit for him too. I'm really, really happy to say that, I moved forward and I met other really nice people, but I wasn't dabbling. I wasn't settling. I was able to move forward strongly in something that was perfectly in alignment for me. In closing, I would say that a butterfly somehow understands it's a butterfly, even when it's in a caterpillar's body. There comes a time when it knows that its caterpillar life has run its course. It's supposed to be something bigger. It doesn't know what it is, it just understands this to be true. So, whatever brought you to this webinar, be it some pain or some fear, maybe a desire to be more or just to be different, this course can be your cocoon, your chrysalis, your transformation. When you came to this webinar, if you've come ready to transform into a butterfly, then the next steps can mean your rebirth. If you're wide open to the possibilities of what this could mean, you too can emerge the butterfly. You too can emerge and step into your radiance. I love this quote. Stepping onto a brand new path is difficult, but not more difficult than remaining in a situation which is not nurturing to the whole woman. So this is the thing. Today, you got a treetop glimpse of what it would look like to step out of self-sabotage and into your radiance. So if you're that butterfly flying way up high, your radiant awakening would be like flying down into the garden to reveal the many facets of your radiance that have yet to shine through. We've only brushed on the surface of these elements today. I've spent decades living these challenges in my life and overcoming them, putting myself through rigorous courses and experiences to master this material. And there's still so much to share. You deserve this level of mastery too, wouldn't you agree? Now you have a choice. You can keep doing what you've been doing. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be on this webinar if what you were doing were working. Or you can invest in yourself and learn a new way. Over the next 48 hours, I've set aside some time to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas to your life starting today. Whatever your biggest challenges are, I've heard it before. I know how to overcome it. On this session, we're going to dig deeper than is possible here on this webinar. We're going to determine where you self-sabotage the most. We're also going to help you gain clarity on what's preventing you from stepping out of self-sabotage. And we're going to identify the steps you can take to begin your own radiant awakening. So who is this for? This is for women that are currently feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, anxious. They lack energy or feeling like they have nothing left to give. And they probably don't know how to change it. It might be in one area of their life. It might be more. It might be their whole life. If this is for you, you must be willing to let go of the self-sabotaging mindsets and behaviors that are holding you back and invest in yourself. You must be committed to releasing anything that's keeping you stuck in self-sabotage. And you must be willing to take 100% responsibility for your own life. Are you ready to take aligned action and allow your radiance to shine its infinite light into the world? If this is you, please book a session now. Now, there's a part of you that might be asking yourself, well, why on earth is she doing this? And the truth is, I'm doing this because I wish this was available to me when I was stuck in self-sabotage. It took me years and tens of thousands of dollars to discover the shifts that can take mere weeks. I love giving back and helping women who know there's so much more to life than just surviving or making do. I love supporting women in creating a life that they love. Women like you ask me all the time to help them feel more radiant, to help them set down their baggage in the areas of health, wealth, and love, to put an end to their own cycle of self-sabotage so that they can experience their own radiant awakening that will set them free. If this sounds like you, let's chat. Let's see if it's a good fit for both of us. So if this sounds like a fit for you, I'd like you to go back to the page that brought you into this webinar. Look for that button at the bottom that says click here to apply now. That will take you to my scheduler so you can book an appointment right away. I'd like to thank you once again for joining our webinar, and I hope you got a lot out of the webinar this evening, and I really look forward to connecting with you on our session soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.